Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a smorgasbord of things here that I want to talk to you about. And in this video, there's going to be a very important warning that I'm going to talk about, and it has to do with power cords. All right, ladies and gentlemen, very important for you to know this information. I found this out on the fly, but I'm going to share it with you, especially since more than likely you are a prepper or you're getting prepared. So you're going to need to know this to make sure that you don't endanger yourself or your family whenever you're charging a solar generator or using a power cord off of your regular generator, gasoline generator. I wanted to show you some of the things that I believe are going to become extremely expensive when the dollar is finally dethroned. When this event happens, and I'll call it the event because we will remember it by a name, either the event, the Great Devaluation, the Greater Depression, whatever it is, it's going to have a name for future generations to remember this time where we, the United States of America, lost the reserve currency of the world and are now having to pay extravagant prices for everything that we import. And as we've talked in the past, we import almost everything. There's a whole bunch of power cords here that I went out and got because I know right now how important they will be in the future and how much more expensive they will be. Some of them are made here in the United States. Some of these are made overseas. And of course, the ones that are made here in the United States, they are, in my opinion, of better quality. Like this one right here. Where is it? This one right here is made in the U.S. It's outstanding quality. Outstanding quality. We use this kind right here for our vehicles in the wintertime because they're very pliable, right? And they have a lit head and tail on them, right? They have a lit male and female end on them that lets you know that they're getting power, but very, very good, but very expensive. All right, this is probably twice as much as one of those that you can import. I believe this was close to $40 for a 15 foot. 15 foot. I think it was either $29 or $39. Probably about $29, but that's still pretty pricey. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, even those things that are made here in the United States, even though they're expensive now, they're going to be even more expensive as the dollar continues to lose its purchasing power. And those things that we are importing into the United States with dollars are going to be even more expensive. This is the time for you to get those things that you are going to need in the future. If you know you're going to need them, get them. I know I'm going to need these. I go through about 2 or 3 extension cords every year. Why? Because I am not very good at keeping track where they are and running them over, right? I ran over one of mine this winter with the snowblower and with the plow. The one that I ran over with the snowblower, I was able to save and patch up, but then once I ran it over with the plow, it's gone, right? But anyways, I know that I go through extension cords, right? So I'm going to stock up on them now. I want to show you something about extension cords after I show you the few other things that I'm stocking up on now too before the dollar's demise. That way it can give you some ideas. But I'm going to show you something that is very important in my opinion. But let me show you a couple of other things that I picked up so that you can get your creative juices going and maybe it'll give you some ideas on things that you should be stocking up on. When's the last time that you had to change the wax ring in your toilet, right? Nobody ever thinks about these things until they need them. Now, I remember these rings here 5-6 years ago when I first built my home. I remember these were like $1.50. The regular cheapo wax ones. These, nothing special about these. These were like $1.50. Now, ladies and gentlemen, multiply that times 2 or 3 for the exact same product. And this isn't even one of the fancy silicone ones. It's just one of the regular old wax ones. But you know what? These things work. But that's what I'm getting at. Think outside the box of things that you normally don't think about and then go out there and get some of these things because eventually you will need them. Eventually I will need one of these and I'm going to have it just in case. Another thing for those of you that have diesel vehicles or run heating oil, right, to heat your home, do you have something that will stabilize heating oil or diesel? This is like an antimicrobial, I believe, that actually allows diesel and heating oil to last a lot longer if you're putting it away for long-term storage. And this is actually made for long-term storage. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it down there in the bottom, but this is actually made for long-term storage as well. And one of these small bottles, I believe it cost me like 20 bucks, but it will treat up to 400 or a little over 400 gallons of diesel or heating oil. So are you thinking about getting these things? If you put away gasoline, are you putting away some stable right? So you can have some stable to treat your new gasoline once you rotate it out of your old cans. Now, if you study history, you'll know that whenever a currency fails, whenever a nation is in distress, what is it that they stop making first, ladies and gentlemen? They don't stop making food first. They don't stop making fuel first, or if they can help it. Right? Those things that are life-sustaining are the things that they concentrate on the most. Fuel, food, right? Things like that, that medicine that people actually need to survive. But they do stop making peripherals like this. This is just a little peripheral and attachment for my air compressor, but they are not going to make things like this as long as there is a greater need for food, for fuel, for medicines, and things like that. They're going to put this to the side, and then they're going to concentrate on the life-saving things that people need first. So things like this that you can see yourself using or needing in the future, or even bartering, get them now. Because, like I said, once the dollar gets devalued to the point where other nations just are not going to accept it or trade with it, then this right here is either not going to be available or it's going to cost 5-10 times, maybe more than what it costs now. Plumbing. I know that I'm going to be needing some plumbing material. So I went ahead and got me a whole bunch of little fittings like these. I think these are the shark fittings, and these things work great, by the way, just in case you don't know. They work great. So I went ahead and grabbed me a few of these to put away for my little project that I have going on this summer. And in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and ordered a load of wood, of lumber, of piping, different types of piping that I may be using this summer to replace piping that I already have, just in case I need to. So the piping under my house that has my water coming up to my house, I went ahead and bought enough piping to replace all of it, just in case, ladies and gentlemen, because the piping, oh my goodness, it has gone up. The PVC and the electrical conduit piping as well, and the black ABS piping, that has gone up in price incredibly. I couldn't believe the price compared to what I used to pay for it 5-6 years ago when I was in the process of building our home or just finishing up building our home. So I went ahead and got some of that stuff because I honestly don't believe that the prices will be coming down anytime soon. And I believe that the prices will just be going up more and more as time goes by. So let me show you the different types of cords that I got. First thing that I did was I got an adapter for my generator, right? I got an adapter for that, for the generator of different types to be able to go into my house and power my house if I'm going to be using like a gas generator or even a solar generator that I'm reviewing right now that you can actually hook up to your house. So I went ahead and got an extra adapter for that. I ended up getting an extra generator cord that will be able to push my generator out an additional 25 feet away from my house. Right now my generator is about, I don't know, I would say about 15 feet away from my house, but I want to push it out even further. I think the further it is from your home, the better, as long as you're not losing too much power. And with the generator that I have, that big guy that I have, if I lose a few watts by extending it out another 25 feet, it's not really going to hurt because it makes a lot more than what I actually need. So I got an extra generator cord here. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because they're available. And Murphy's Law says that if something can happen, it will happen. So eventually I will end up needing this, according to Murphy's Law, that is. All right, so now it's story time, ladies and gentlemen. This is very important, and I hope that you follow along with me because I think that this could be detrimental if someone doesn't understand amperage and wattage. All right, but I'm going to make it as simple as I possibly can. I'll even show you a little chart here on the screen so that you can follow along. So right now I'm in the process of reviewing a solar generator that has an AC, all right, so a wall outlet input capacity of about 2,000 watts, okay, and which is great. An input capacity of about 2,000 watts, meaning that you can charge it from your wall outlet up to 2,000 watts it'll take. And I'm like, wow, it's awesome because you can charge it in a couple of hours instead of having to wait, a day or a day and a half to charge a big battery like the one that I'm reviewing brings. So I'm thinking to myself, before I recognized that it would have an input of 2,000 watts, actually a little more than 2,000 watts, I went ahead and got a power cord that was a 25-foot long power cord. I've got plenty of 15-foot power cords like this one right here. But I wanted to charge it inside my house because it was just for reviewing it. And I wasn't charging it from like a generator outside the house or anything like that. It was just to review it inside the house. So the 15-foot power cord that I had wasn't enough. And the reason I'm saying it wasn't long enough is because knowing that it was going to have an input of 2,000 watts, I knew that I was going to have to use a 20 amp outlet. You see, a 20 amp outlet will support 2000 watts of energy coming out of it continuously, whereas a 15 amp outlet will not. A 15 amp outlet is rated for about 1875 watts, something like that. So I knew that I was going to have to come out of a 20 amp outlet, which I have. So I needed a 25-foot cord because it was not, you know, I have it in my kitchen and I have the solar generator in my living room. So I needed a longer cord than what I had for that. So I went out and I got myself a 25-foot cord, right? No problem. So I bring this home right here, and this is actually pretty expensive. Let me put it right side up. This was actually pretty expensive. This was like 19 bucks, and this one is a 25-foot outdoor light. It says light duty cord, but I'm like, all I'm doing is just powering my solar generator with it. No big deal. But this, ladies and gentlemen, everyone is used to just grabbing a power cord, plugging it in, and using it and not really looking at the information. Once I started to look at this power cord, before I even started to use it to charge the solar generator that I'm reviewing, I actually looked at it, and I looked at this and I was like, what in the world is that? I've never seen, now I'm not saying that they've not been around, but I've never really seen a power cord that was 13 amps. And 13 amps, ladies and gentlemen, does not support even 1875 watts. 15 amps does. So power cords like this that are 15 amps, these easily support, you know, 1875 watts, but they're not even made to support 2000, 2100 watts like I needed. So I'm like, a lot of people are going to be using this. Like, let's say we have a long-term grid down. A lot of people are going to use this because I can connect this to my solar generator. I can connect it and power it with this. However, this cord is too light duty for me to be able to do that safely. Since this cord will plug into a 20 amp outlet, and the solar generator, or it could be any other, you know, appliance that you may be using that takes more than 1800 or 1675 watts. If you're using a cord that's only rated for 1675 watts and you're pulling 2000 watts or even 1875 watts through it, 15 amps, continuously for a long time, there is a very good chance that this cord can start overheating and then bad things happen. So if you take anything from this video, is to make sure that when you purchase a power cord, that you purchase the right one for the job. Now, I can see people recharging their solar generators in the future, maybe from a gasoline generator that they have out in their backyard, because it just makes sense. And I'll be doing a video about that here soon, about how you can actually power your home with a solar generator and not it cost you very much, as long as you use a gasoline generator to complement that solar generator. And I've often said that gasoline generators and solar generators, they complement each other, and I think that that is true. But I'm going to do a video about that so that I can prove to you that they actually do. So what I'm getting at, ladies and gentlemen, is check your power cords. Now, once I noticed this, I obviously did not use it, but then I went out and I purchased the power cord that I should be using for that application, and let me show you it right here. Now, this is a 20 amp power cord, specifically made to draw 20 amp or 2400 watts through it continuously. And actually, you can draw a little bit more than that, but it is rated for at least 20 amps. If you want to convert amperage into wattage, all you have to do is multiply the amps by 120. So for example, 20 amps times 120 is 2,400. So this is rated for 2,400 watts continuous. And you can tell that it's one of those cords that's a little different. The ones that have the little flat prong there and the straight prong. So this is not going to fit into a 15 amp outlet. It will only fit into a 20 amp outlet. And I'll try to leave a picture of a 15 watt outlet right there and a 20 amp outlet right there. And you'll see that this one right here is made for that. Or maybe you can see it right here better. You see that? It's got the side. So this here is the cord that I would want to use to power my solar generator or any appliance that's going to be drawing more than 1800 watts, let's say. Make sure that you have the right tool for the job. Now, before I sign off, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go over this for you real quick. There's a little chart on this that I'm going to show you on the screen while I read it off to you, because it is very handy, and hopefully you can take a print screen of this chart and keep it, which it actually allows you to convert the gauge of the wires with how many amps or watts you can use with that specific power cord. And I know that not all power cords come with this, so I figured that if I put this up on the screen, you can print screen it and just have it in your little toolbox. That way you can always know what is safe to use or not. Now remember, do your own research, all right? Because I'm not a professional electrician. I'm just going off by what this says. And I actually compared this to other sites or sources on the internet. So check this out. This cord right here is a 12 gauge. So it has 12 gauge wires, the thickness of the wire. And this cord, if you see all the little X's, if you follow them all the way down, it tells you the maximum amount of amps that you can use it for and at what distance. So this 12 gauge cord is actually a great cord. It will do all the way up to 20 amps or 2500 watts, as it says here, all the way up to 50 feet. So 12 gauge is a great cord. This one here does say that it is rated for 15 amps. However, that may be because of the male and the female ends that it has. But the actual wire itself is rated all the way to 2500 watts, all the way up to 50 feet. And then if you take a look at the one that I bought here, this 16.3, which is rated for 13 amps, it shows here that the 16 gauge is good for up to 13 amps or 1625 watts all the way up to 50 feet. But anything after that, you don't want to use it for. So take a look, for example, if I would have used that cord that I initially purchased in order to power up that solar generator, it would have been taking more than 15 amps, and it was only rated for 13 amps at 1600 watts. So I would have been actually running about 500 watts through that power cord more than what it's rated for. That's why I say you have to take a look at what you're getting and get the right cord for the right job. And also remember, ladies and gentlemen, that these cords, I haven't covered this yet, but these cords are usually run on an 80 and 20 rule, meaning that they are rated, all right, they are rated on the package for about 80% of what they can actually handle. Right? But you don't want to count on that other 20%. You always want to use it according to what they're rated for in order for you to make sure that you're using it safely. I really hope that you got something out of this, ladies and gentlemen. Not only are we in a time where we need to start thinking about how we can protect our wealth going forward in the future, but start thinking about how we can protect our wealth with things that we actually are going to use and need in the future. Because although I am an advocate of gold and silver for hedge against inflation, I am more of an advocate on getting real things that I know I'm going to need in the future. And guess what? Get more than what you need. And the reason I say get more of what you need is because this will make an awesome barter item should someone ever come across that needs one and they have something that I need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so my excess wealth doesn't go to just precious metals. It goes to things that I know I'm going to use in the future and that I know will go up in price as they have been. Goodness gracious, have you seen the price of things out there? I went to a local supermarket, not Costco or the commissary, but I forgot if it was Safeway or Fred Meyer the other day, but I went in there for a few minutes and I was looking for some lye to make some more soap. And I just was passing through the aisles and I noticed some of the prices like on regular foods like beans and rice. And I was like, oh my goodness, how can people afford to eat in these days that we're living in? Because salaries and wages are definitely not keeping up with inflation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still here, I will be having a live stream on Friday, but it's going to be probably around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Alaska time, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I'll talk about this tomorrow, but I've been getting so many emails in my Alaska Prepper Intel email address that what I think I'm going to do is I still haven't looked at the news or anything like that ever since I told you I wouldn't all the way back in very early March. And it's been great. It really has, ladies and gentlemen. But I do know that looking at some of my emails, I have been getting sent a lot of information that some of them I'm like, man, people really do need to know about this. So I may go ahead and pick out maybe like one email every other day or something like that has something that's interesting, that won't get my blood pressure up and heated, something that I can just stay neutral on and talk about. But that I think that is pretty important. Like, for example, one of the things that I think was pretty important that's happened the last week or so is all of the cows that passed away from that fire. And that's something I didn't know about unless someone would have sent me that email. So I have to head on over to Costco and get some more beef to put in my freeze dryer. So those are the kinds of things that I want to be able to share with you. But I'm not going to be going in depth into the news and geopolitics and all that stuff anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's very destructive to my health, and I just don't think I was doing anyone any real favors by going over that stuff. Maybe I woke up a few people doing that, which is a great thing. But now we're going to take it forward with all of the things that we need to do to get prepared, and some of the things that happen that are actually actionable intel, like that beef. Beef prices are going to go up pretty high, I think, just because of that. Not that they weren't going to go up anyways, but now they're going to go up even higher. Having said that, let me stop talking so that I can go and put this video up. Have a great day. God bless every one of you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.